Hello and welcome, my friends. This is Jennifer from Mystic Star. I want to thank you so much for spending some time with me today and watching this video. This is going to be my group reading for Mercury Retrograde. On June 18th, Mercury heads into retrograde. And it's an astrological phenomenon where it looks like Mercury is orbiting the sun backwards. It's not, it's slowing down, and to our human eyes, it looks like the planet starts to move backwards slowly. This impacts us a lot. That slowing energy starts to impact how we interact with our environment and the energies produced by that astrological phenomenon. Now, right now, not only do we have the added bonus of Mercury going into retrograde, we have Jupiter that's been in retrograde since May 15th, Saturn since May 10th, and Pluto since April 25th. Additionally, we have Venus that went in on May 13th. And I've been saying in my videos that I thought it was going out of retrograde or going back into what's called direct on the 5th. That was my human really not wanting to see what was in front of me, because it's actually going into direct on the 25th. So we're going to have these 5 planets all in retrograde. Now, sometimes when you have a planet in retrograde, it doesn't impact you in a negative way. So, for example, when you have Pluto, when it goes into retrograde, we don't feel it as much. We kind of get that reminiscing, reflective energy, which in itself isn't so bad. However, because we have some other entities and some other astrological bodies in retrograde, it's kind of compounding and causing us a little bit of aggravation and challenge. So with Mercury, when it goes into retrograde, it deals with our communication. And it's just not our communication with each other. It's all communications, the technological communications, the written communications, our interpretations and understanding of any communications to us. That interpersonal skills are really challenged. Now, to add to that, we're going to have this need to want to reflect into our relationships and what's happening because Pluto's in retrograde. Additionally, because we have Saturn that's in retrograde and will be in retrograde until September 29th, we're going to have this very unproductive, sluggish, sloth-like energy. So there's a lot of longing to do something. We want to do it so bad, but we just don't have the energy. It's just so hard. Then we have Venus, and she's in retrograde until June 25th, which thankfully we're not going to have Venus. That is the astrological entity or body, that planet, regarding that relationship and connection in retrograde for too long with Mercury, because it can cause a lot of challenges. That understanding and connection is being pushed to its limits, and then that feeling and connection to that person is being strained and has been strained since May 13th. And just to top everything off, we still have Jupiter in retrograde. Jupiter went into retrograde on May 15th, and it will go direct on September 12th. Jupiter is a big body. It's a big energy. It's to do with our pursuits and that need to strive forward and expand our consciousness. Things are really impacted and we're struggling. And we can see it not only globally, but we can see it in our interpersonal lives. So what I wanted to do in this reading was to reflect on how Mercury retrograde is going to add to the already retrograde challenge we're dealing with. And what's more, how we can use this to our advantage. Yes, we may feel very energetically drained And yes, we may be confused on how we want to go forward, and we're fighting with everybody, and we don't know why. This reading, I'm hoping to be able to see how we can use this time for our greater good, rather than just turtling ourselves and waiting till the end of the cycle, which is in July. When we do something like that, we're being bystanders in our lives, and we're missing out on opportunities. Mercury retrograde in itself offers us opportunities. We need to be there participating and taking advantage of them. So we're going to highlight on some of these skills, those abilities and blessings that you can incorporate into overcoming the challenge, and kind of use this time to your advantage. Now, the decks I've chosen for this reading are the Tarot of the Haunted House and the Enchanted Mapping Oracle. Now, like always, I have links below to both these decks, so should they speak to you, you can go check them out for yourselves. So for my selections this week, my friends, I have Carnelian, Lapis Lazuli, and Rose Quartz. What I want you to do is look at these crystals, and whichever crystal resonates with you the most right now, I want you to choose that one. And then go into the description box below, and I have a timestamp for each crystal. Click on that correlating timestamp, and it will take you directly to your reading, and I will see you there. Hello and welcome, my Carnelian friends. This reading is especially for you. Now, like always, I have the full decks of both the Oracle and the Tarot. This way you get the most comprehensive and meaningful reading for you. Alright, without further ado, let's get into this Mercury retrograde business. What can my Carnelian friends expect from Mercury retrograde? So we have the Three of Pentacles. This is the cooperation card. This card talks about that need for working with our physical supports, ourselves, and of course those higher vibrational supports. When you're working in total and utter cooperation, you have what I like to call the Triforce Perfecta, and anything is possible. Now, Mercury retrograde adds extra challenges with that cooperation, with that Triforce Perfecta. Because not only do we feel that isolation, people misunderstand what we are trying to accomplish, and we misunderstand them. And many times we feel very disconnected from the higher vibrational beings. Mercury retrograde is going to offer you that opportunity to really strengthen this connection. Not only, like I said in the introduction, do we have Mercury in retrograde, we have Venus in retrograde. So those people skills are really being taxed right now. Doesn't mean things are impossible, they're just a challenge. When we're able to effectively work with somebody when it's a challenge, it strengthens those skills. And that's what Mercury retrograde is offering you. That ability to strengthen those connections, strengthen your skills to working with self, working with that physical other person, and working with those higher vibrational beings. The Eight of Cups. One thing Mercury retrograde is really going to support you with is that working with self. That Triforce Perfecta includes ourselves. That relationship and understanding of self is going to be strengthened. It's up to us to work on this relationship, to strengthen and reinforce this relationship so that we can use it to our advantage. Having a better understanding of self gives us a better direction and path to go forward on. Those connections are really important. Then we have the Queen of Swords. So the Queen of Swords is about that knowledge base. And this card reaffirms that the knowledge we're going to gain during Mercury retrograde is really going to support us in our future endeavors. That connection to the high vibrational beings, to ourselves, to those who are important in our lives, will only be strengthened as we strengthen our abilities and our skills to work with them, to connect in with them, and to understand them. So Mercury retrograde is going to offer you that opportunity to work on these connections, even though it's going to be a challenge. And let's be honest, sometimes that's what we need. We need to understand how to use these skills and abilities. So when times are tough, we've already done it. We know how to use these skills when things are challenging. And when things are a little bit easier, well, let's be honest, it's a nice break. All right, let's get some more insight here. What wisdom, insight, and information can we share with my Carnelian friends regarding their journey through Mercury retrograde? The Seven of Cups. To say there's illusion out there, there's uncertainty and a disconnect, is an understatement. Now you got to remember, with Mercury retrograde, we have Pluto in retrograde. Pluto in retrograde gives us that opportunity for some reflection. That reflection is going to be needed to help kind of cut through that uncertainty, cut through some of that fog that the Seven of Cups, that seven deadly sins, is presenting us. Helps give us direction for the 8, and helps give us insight into which cup we need to embrace and which cups we don't. We can release and ignore. And this isn't surprising. The Knight of Swords. We need that courage. We need that determination. Because with Mercury in retrograde, it's so easy to turtle and just hermit ourselves so we don't have connection with anybody else. Especially with the added complexities of having Venus in retrograde. We need that courage and determination, that adventure, that excitement to learning the skills that we're going to need for this connection. Connection with self and connection with others. Strength, the 8th card in the Major Arcana. She talks about those inner abilities, those innate skills that we have. Using them, owning them, applying them to our situation, applying those skills and abilities to overcoming and really utilizing the energies of all these planets that are in retrograde. We can't stop them from being in retrograde. We can only use them to our advantage. When we start to connect into that universal energy, and now the original Strength card has 2 infinity symbols, and on her necklace she has the infinity symbol right here. The Strength card usually has 2 infinity symbols. Those overt, direct energies that we can tap into and utilize, and those hidden talents and energies that we can tap into and we need to tap into right now to overcoming this challenge, to connecting in and reinforcing these relationships, using it to our advantage. And finally, the Four of Pentacles. Now, fours are a stable foundational number. The Pentacle is about that foundation and growth. The Four of Pentacles is reminding you of the very clear importance of ensuring that you are grounded and that you are centered. When we have that grounded, centered energy, we feel stronger and more able to take on and reinforce some of these relationships. Because many of these relationships are foundational, especially our relationship with ourselves. Those foundational relationships are going to be meaningful and needed throughout our lifetime. So strengthening them, nurturing them is really important right now. So making sure that we do have that grounded, centered energy to help with that courage, that determination, and that energy of adventure to take on and be open to new possibilities, opportunities, and ideas on how to connect in and work with others. All right, let's go into some blessings. What blessings? Okay, that one tried to jump out and go under the table. What blessings can my Carnelian friends embrace to help them through the challenges of Mercury Retrograde? Peaks of joy. Embrace that joyful energy wherever and whenever it presents itself. When we search for that silver lining, it helps amplify that higher vibrational, joyous energy. And it's that energy that we need to really overcome some of the downfalls and challenges that Mercury Retrograde is going to present and bring forth for you. That silver lining and keeping your eye on that high vibrational energy will make things easier for you to overcome. It'll also make your day a lot lighter and happier. Now, this card is the 33rd card in the Oracle deck. We have the Three of Pentacles there. When you have that multiple three, the angels are telling you something close to your heart needs to be expressed. That's very evident and true in this reading. That connection and acceptance is key. Additionally, we have multiple eights, the Eight of Cups, and then we also have the Strength card, the 8th card in the Major Arcana. When you have that multiple eight, the angels are encouraging you to stay true to your passions so that you're able to expand your limits. Education. We're back to that knowledge piece, that importance of learning. Not only are we going to have that opportunity to reinforce current and existing skills, whether they be overt or introvert, opportunities are going to present themselves where you're going to be able to expand that intellectual knowledge, giving more skills and more abilities, whether it has to do with Mercury Retrograde or not. Coming apart. Well, let's be honest. We're going to have 5 planets in retrograde. We have 5 planets in retrograde. Plus, we have an epidemic that we haven't had to deal with in generations. And the social anger and injustice that's occurring. So to say that we feel like things are coming apart can sometimes feel like an understatement. Acknowledging that for what it is and grounding ourselves, connecting in, taking that time to nurture and reconnect in with ourselves. Part of that Triforce Perfecta is that relationship with you. Ensuring you take that time and energy to nurture you throughout this process. It will help when we're feeling like we're coming apart, because we're not. It's that energy that is pushing and pulling us in so many directions. Calming our mind, calming our space, grounding ourselves, and feeling stronger will help overcome any of that energetic push and pull. And finally, Sacred Pool. Sacred Pool reinforces that energetic output. What we put out is going to be reflected back to us. Making sure that we stay in that high vibration so that we can ensure that that's what we get back. We don't need more lower vibrational anger and fear coming back at us. We have enough of that. That light, that love, that joy will go a long way. Those silver linings are going to be imperative for us. Mercury is only going to be in retrograde until July 12th. This is not a forever thing. However, the skills that we're going to be able to strengthen, create, and reinforce are going to be really essential for our journey in the long run, whether it be during a Mercury retrograde or a time when we have so many planets in retrograde, or just when we're having a hard day. Being able to connect into self, relying on our inner abilities and skills, trusting in our abilities and skills, because we're working on that relationship with self. Now, when we're working with relationship with self, and we have this coming apart card, I said that calming a mind. Archangel Chamuel is encouraging me to remind you that we created a meditation, I think it was a month and a half ago, regarding that self-love, regarding that compassion for self. When we're starting to feel like we're coming apart and we're feeling that isolation, it's a fantastic meditation that you can revisit or visit and use to your advantage. Another meditation that we can visit is the one I did with Archangel Uriel regarding our abilities, strengthening our inner fires and igniting our skills and our abilities to helping take hold of our power, step into that light. Both of these meditations can be useful to overcoming some of the challenges that we're going to face during Mercury retrograde. It adds another tool in our toolbox to overcoming that kind of instability, overcoming some of that uncertainty. That ability to use what's right at hand to help foster those skills and abilities that you're going to need to overcome those challenges that are in our pathway and are unavoidable. I want to thank you guys so very much for spending some time with me today and watching this video. I hope that you found this video fun and helpful, and you're able to gain some insight and direction into what Mercury retrograde can do for you. If you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for the latest content. There is so much more amazing coming your way, my friends. The best way to stay connected so you don't miss out on any of this amazing insight and healing is to subscribe to my channel and hit that little red bell so you don't miss a video. Also, if you enjoyed my video and want to support me in making more, I have a Patreon page with many tiers and lots of perks. In some of the tiers, the perks are private readings and healings with myself. I provided a helpful link below, so why not go check it out. Until tomorrow, my Carnelian friends. Hello and welcome, my Lapis Lazuli friends. This reading is especially for you. Now, like always, I have the full decks of both the Oracle and the Tarot cards. so you get the most comprehensive and meaningful reading for you. Without further ado, see what Mercury Retrograde has in store for you guys. What can my Lapis Lazuli friends expect from Mercury Retrograde? The Ace of Swords. Those aha moments. Mercury Retrograde is going to offer you those opportunities that we may not have really recognized or be open to. We know that with Mercury there are 4 other planets that are going to be either in retrograde or just coming out of retrograde. There's a lot of opportunities and inspiration waiting for us. We just need to take that time to check in and tap into it. One of the planets that's in retrograde is Pluto. And yes, Pluto deals with that fortune and life and death energy. But when it's in retrograde, it slows it down. You're able to reflect into it. We need to use this time to our advantage. Use this reflective energy to open up and be aware of these opportunities, this inspiration that is waiting for us. We just need to slow down to receive that information. The Emperor, the 4th card in the Major Arcana. The Emperor is encouraging us to stick to our routine. The more stable we feel in our home environment and in our everyday, the easier it will be to not only be open to these inspirations and ideas, these opportunities, will also help us overcome some of that push and pull we're feeling from all these planets in retrograde all at once, plus the global pandemic, and of course that social anger and injustice that's occurring. There's a lot of energies at play right now. That stability is really essential. Additionally, because we are looking at the Emperor, we are looking at a stable number of 4. And the Emperor is the pinnacle of stability, reminding us of that importance. Not only is it important that we have our routines, that we have that familiar stability with, we need to be focusing in on exercises and tools and techniques that will help keep us grounded and centered, calm and collected. The more we're able to use all our knowledge and faculties in overcoming the challenges and obstacles that are going to be presented and are being presented to us, the better and more high vibrational solution and answers we'll find. It's one thing to react to a situation, it's another thing to solve that situation. The Emperor is encouraging us to solve the situation. Don't react. Find that higher vibrational solution for your greater good. So let's look into this a bit more. What information, insight, and wisdom can we share with my Lapis Lazuli friends to help them overcome the challenges brought forth by Mercury Retrograde? The Ten of Swords. Tens are about endings and beginnings. That sword, truth, and knowledge. We have a bit of a pattern here. We have that very knowledge-based critical thinking cards on the table right now. The Emperor is the archetype of discipline, protection, and that knowledge, that stability. His everyday persona in the deck is the King of Swords. One thing that's going to really help you guys through Mercury retrograde, and thankfully Mercury retrograde isn't a planet that has a tendency to last in retrograde. Mercury's in retrograde until the 12th of July. We need to use our critical thinking and knowledge to push us forward. Like I said, we can't just react. We have to think about what's truly happening, reflect in, and use those critical thinking skills. They're going to help us overcome those challenges that Mercury retrograde and all these other planets in retrograde are going to pose or bring forth. Now the Ten of Swords, it's a fantastic card to get. I know it's a very kind of hard card to see, but tens are about endings and beginnings. The Ten of Swords recognizes we've had to deal with a lot of crap. There's a lot going on, my friends. However, that sun is rising. It's essential that we get up and be active participants in our lives. We can't just stay down. We can't hermit ourselves or turtle ourselves and just allow this time to pass us by. That active participation, to be able to be open to these possibilities, these opportunities that are going to present themselves, especially during this retrograde season, if you will, that are going to be essential for our long-term growth. Getting up and greeting the day, no matter how sluggish and how disconnected we feel. Ground ourselves, center ourselves, bring ourselves back on alignment so that we can move forward. The Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is a fantastic card to bring in. The Knight is needed, let's be honest. We need that courage, we need that determination, because with Saturn in retrograde, we're feeling really sluggish. We just don't feel like we have the energy. We don't have the courage. There's so much going on, we feel overwhelmed. The Knight offers us his strength, infuses it with love, courage, and determination to overcome and be successful. Staying in that high vibrational space of love and light will help us overcome some of these darker days, help us amplify that sunrise and what we can achieve in our day. The Nine of Cups. I love how they have the original card right behind them. I love this deck. It's a fantastic deck. The energies it holds is just phenomenal. So the Nine of Cups talks about, again, all that we've lived through, all that we've accomplished. We should be thankful for all that we've been able to overcome, all that we've achieved. It supports us and encourages us forward. We know that we've overcome lots. We've done lots. We've been able to accrue abundance. Some of this abundance is physical, and some of it is spiritual, and in some cases, a combination of many. Using that abundance as a very stable and supportive structure and stability to add these aha moments to, so that your abundance accrues even further. The Six of Cups. Now we're starting to get a bit of a bigger pattern here. We have all this knowledge combined with our intuition. Cups are an intuitive card. They're about that emotion and intuition. That intuition and connection to the higher vibrational beings is going to be essential, because they're going to guide us to these aha moments. Many of these aha moments are messages from those higher vibrational beings. Being open to those messages, and most importantly, incorporating them in. We've got the Knight here. He's an action card. It's one thing to keep this knowledge and bury it inside of us. In that way, we play almost possum, if you will. We're not being active participants. Some of these ideas, some of this inspiration, these opportunities are things that we need to incorporate into our everyday right away. Other pieces we want to write down for a later date. They're going to make more sense and they're going to resonate with you at a different frequency down the line. The big piece is to make sure that we utilize this information. We don't just let it pass us by or write it down and forget it. We need to use this information to our advantage. Now, the Six of Cups is a reminiscing card. This card talks about the need to reflect in how we've overcome things. This isn't our first Mercury retrograde. This isn't the first time that astrologically we've had a number of planets in retrograde at the same time. It may be the first time we're aware of it, but we've done it in the past. How did you overcome it in the past? How did you use this energy to your advantage? How do you overcome and use experiences that may be a bit more challenging to your advantage? We all do them differently. That's why life is so amazing. That law of free will, we can use it to our advantage. And as such, there are many different answers and outcomes to situations. Now, there's not really a right, quote unquote, right answer. It's just some of them bring more learning opportunities than others. And finally, death. For these amazing learning opportunities and situations, we have to make room for them. There's only so much we can hold. We have to release different aspects and pieces of our lives that we're not connecting with, that aren't for a higher vibration, aren't for a greater good, and we're struggling with. Release them and their control over you so that you can take on these aha moments and bring them into the light, bring them into your everyday. Help them amplify your skills and abilities and help you step into your power even further. All right, let's go on to some blessings. What blessing can my Lapis Lazuli friends embrace for Mercury retrograde? Bone Collector. I know it seems like kind of a creepy card, which just amplifies the creepiness of the Tarot of the Haunted House. But the Bone Collector talks about having all it is that you need. When we signed up for this journey, we signed up and made sure that we had our skills and our abilities that we were going to need. Those people, those high vibrational beings that were going to support us. Everything was contracted before we came down. Bone Collector reminds us that we do have everything it is we need to overcome any challenges or obstacles that we're going to face in this lifetime. Now, this is the first card in the Oracle deck. We have the Ace of Swords. In angel messages, when you've got that multiple one, the angels are reminding you to believe in yourself and your abilities. That's exactly what the Bone Collector is encouraging you to do. We have what we need. We just need to tap into it. And some of those aha moments that the Ace of Swords is talking about is going to be that connection back to what it is we need in this lifetime. Now, last week before, I worked with Archangel Uriel on a meditation to connect in and amplify and ignite those inner abilities and skills. It's a fantastic tool that you can visit or revisit to support you during Mercury retrograde and tapping in to some of these skills and abilities that will help you through Mercury retrograde. Ride the wave. It's a fantastic card that connects back into the importance of that intuitive guidance and our clairs. We can't change Mercury from being in retrograde, no more than we can change anything else that is not us. We have to ride out this situation. We have to embrace what is happening for what it is and use it to our advantage. This Oracle card reminds us that when you work with what's happening, you're going to get a lot further than when you resist it. Swimming upstream is a lot harder than catching a wave and hanging 10. Then finally, Wizard of Awareness. Again, we have that connection to our skills and abilities. This card is very much connected in to the Magician card in the tarot. Using your skills and abilities to your advantage, incorporating them into your everyday. Those tasks, those situations, those tools that you have access to, and incorporating them in, helping you create that stability and foundation. So for example, we know that Mercury retrograde upsets and disconnects us with our communication. So Lapis Lazuli helps us with our throat chakra, connecting in with our throat chakra and Lapis Lazuli to help strengthen our communication skills. Using the root chakra and any red or black crystal to help us with our stability and grounding. Using what's at hand and readily available, and most importantly, what you feel comfortable with, will support you in this journey through Mercury retrograde. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today and watching this video. I hope that you found this video fun and helpful, and you're able to gain some insight and direction into what Mercury retrograde can help you out with. If you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for the latest content. There is so much more amazing coming your way, my friends. The best way to stay connected so you don't miss out on any of this amazing insight and healing is to subscribe to my channel and hit that little red bell. Also, if you enjoyed this video and want to support me in making more, I have a Patreon page with many tiers and lots of perks. In some of the tiers, the perks are private readings and healings with myself. I provided a helpful link below, so why not go check it out? Until tomorrow, my Lapis Lazuli friends. Hello and welcome, my rose quartz friends. This reading is especially for you. Now, like always, I have the full decks of both the Oracle and the Tarot, so you get the fullest and most meaningful reading for you. Alright, without further ado, let's see what Mercury retrograde has in store for you guys. What can my rose quartz friends expect from Mercury retrograde? The Ten of Wands. Now, tens are an ending and a beginning card. They're about that completion and that new. What the Ten of Wands is telling you is that you're working way too hard. You have too much burden on our back. We need to start to evaluate and reflect on what's really important and for our higher vibration and what we need to release. We can't keep pushing ourselves like this because we're going to burn out. Mercury retrograde is going to offer you those opportunities. Because you got to remember, Mercury's not the only planet we have in retrograde right now. We also have Pluto. And when Pluto's in retrograde, it helps us reflect on things. It helps us give that extra time and energy we need. We have that drive to reflect on what is and isn't working so well. We need to use this time to our advantage. Now that said, I know we also have Saturn in retrograde. And that's kind of our sloth energy that we're feeling right now. We're impacted by that sluggish, non-energetic energy that's draining us. We feel just lethargic and blah. We need to set some intentions and give ourselves that time. Even if we don't feel like we have that energy to do it, we need to take some time to reflect on what's working and what isn't. Mercury retrograde is going to give us some amazing opportunities to release some of this burden. We don't have to carry everything on our backs. We have that ability to purge the system and realign with what's important for us and for our greater good. The Tower, the 16th card in the Major Arcana. Many of us have kind of been feeling this kind of crash, boom, duck for cover energy for some time. Yes, we've been in a global tower situation. However, Mercury retrograde is going to be presenting you with some individual tower situations. Mercury retrograde is giving you that opportunity to shed what's not working, and the universe is joining in this energy to bring about situations that are going to force your hand. Now, depending on how much you embrace this shift will depend on how hard and how much you feel this tower strike. Mercury retrograde usually does bring about its own challenges, but these challenges that you're facing during Mercury retrograde will help you not only realign with what's important, it's going to shed a lot of that burden. We just need to be careful not to pick it back up again when we rebuild. So let's get some more insight into Mercury retrograde for you. What information, support, and wisdom can we offer my rose quartz friends for overcoming the challenges of Mercury retrograde? The Ten of Pentacles. It's a family card. And I kind of enjoy the fact that it does have this colder feel because it highlights that disconnect that we're feeling. With the global situation that's occurring and all this chaotic, low vibrational energy, we really feel that disconnect. Especially as Venus is in retrograde and now Mercury is going into retrograde. We're going to have that disconnect. We're going to feel alone when we shouldn't. We need to take that time to connect in to that very supportive and positive support system that we have. Utilizing those pieces and tools that we have at hand to support us through this. Now obviously we've got that double 10 here. The angels are telling you when you have that multiple 10 that this is a time of personal development and spiritual enlightenment. As challenging as this may feel, and you may feel a burden and some hard knocks here, this is for your greater good. And it can be hard to see the greater good as you have things crashing around, as you feel that disconnect. The Eight of Swords. In some aspects, we're going to feel very penned in by Mercury retrograde. Not only are we going to have this disconnect, but we're going to have this crashing come down on us. We are going to feel that pain. We're going to feel constrained, and uncertain of how to move forward. Know that even in the Eight of Swords, were you not sure on where to go forward or how to go forward, that you're functioning in a space of emotion rather than knowledge. Swords are about truth and knowledge. They're not about that emotion. As emotional beings, we have attached emotion to a situation, to an event, and that's the heartache. That's the fear that's slowing us down, that's penning us in. It's very much going to be reflected to you during Mercury Retrograde, which fortunately does have an end date. Mercury Retrograde goes back into its direct orbit on July 12th. It can be quite the 3-ish weeks for you. Taking that time, reflecting in on the actual occurrence, what is physically happening, rather than how you're responding emotionally. That emotional response will not help you. It won't help you through this, and it won't help you overcome those challenges. Eights in tarot are about movement. They're about manifestation. So we have to be careful with that energy that we project out. If we project out energy of fear, of pain, of isolation, that's what we're going to get back. However, if we work a little bit harder, and I know we have to be careful where we're working here. Now, if we work a little bit creatively here, rather than harder, we're going to be able to connect in where we feel that disconnect. We're going to be able to recognize through that critical thinking what supports we're going to need. What supports are going to help us move forward. This is going to be essential for you for Mercury This is going to be essential for you for overcoming Mercury retrograde challenges and those challenges in the future. With the combination of creative exploration in a solution and creative ways in exploring our skills and our abilities and incorporating them into that solution. That's how we're going to find that movement. We're also going to find, as we're tapping into that creativity and that solution focused, rather than that problem phase, it will help keep us in that high vibration. And it's that high vibrational state that will help bring in a little bit more joy and connectedness. The Eight of Wands. Here's your passion. Here's your creativity. We said we needed to use that creative ideas and thoughts on connecting in, on moving forward. Here is the movement of creativity. It's combining with that knowledge to bring you that answer, to bring you the solution that's for your greater good. Now, obviously, we've got the double eights here. In angel messages, the angels are encouraging you to stay true to your passions so that you can expand your limits, which is very applicable here as we're going to expand our abilities to use and stretch and create different and exciting solutions with our current skill set. The Seven of Wands. This is about that courage, that determination. And we're going to need it. Anytime we have that Tower card come up, anytime we have that need to release and shift, we need that courage to not back down. It doesn't matter what challenge we are faced with. We need to access that courage and determination to help us over and through this challenge. Now, it is the Seven of Wands. Seven's our lucky number. Yes, there's going to be work to do. However, with that work comes prosperity and victory. And this isn't a surprising card. Death, the 13th card in the Major Arcana. We need to release what is not working. When we release what's not working, we give space for that new creative answer that's going to support us forward. Not only through Mercury retrograde, but other challenges and obstacles that we're going to face throughout our adventure and journey. The Nine of Swords. Again, not that shocking to see. This is the anxiety and depression card. It connects into that emotion that is so easy to get trapped into. We get focused in on that situation and what's being taken from us, and that possibility and need to release more. Our ego throws up red alerts, and we play the victim. We need to be an active participant in our lives, and that means sometimes standing up no matter what we are confronting, and embracing that knowledge and taking it with us. Now, I truly recognize, my rose quartz friends, that Mercury retrograde is going to be a bit of a bump for you guys. So let's look at some blessings to help ease this bump a bit. What blessings can my rose quartz friends embrace to overcome the challenges of Mercury retrograde? Sad embrace. We're really going to feel that pinch. That sadness is going to feel overwhelming at times. We need to use past experiences, the tools at hand, and the supports that are there, should we ask. It will be important that we acknowledge the loss and the challenge that you're facing, and giving yourself that extra nurturing and love to overcome that loss. Anytime we have that tower, especially with the devil, we're looking at a shift, a loss of what we perceived to be, and a loss of what was. Solitude. Taking that time for self is going to be helpful. It will help you overcome that sadness, that loss, that funk that we're going to feel. However, in solitude, we still need to have that connection. Yes, we may want to limit our connections with the outside world. However, disconnecting entirely will only amplify that isolation, will only accentuate that anxiety and depression that we're feeling. Yes, that time for self will be essential. However, ensuring that we don't put ourselves on an island throughout Mercury retrograde and put our head in the sand, because the tower will continue to strike until we make shifts that are in accordance with what the universe wants us to do. Now, we do have multiple 13s. Solitude is the 13th card in the Oracle deck. And we have the Death card there. In angel messages, when you have that multiple 13, the angels are encouraging you to calm your mind and receive those intuitive messages and ideas. It's in that intuitive message and idea that you're going to get some more creativity, get those answers that you're going to need to lessen your burdens and start to rebuild what will support you and what's for your greater good. Archangel Gabriel is encouraging me to remind you that last month or the month before, we did a meditation together. And in that meditation, we worked on communication with others, including that expression of communication, and also hearing what it is we need to hear, whether it be with our physical support system or our astral support system. Those messages are going to be important, that we receive them accurately and that we incorporate them into our everyday and incorporate them into what's going to occur over the next 3 weeks. Follow the leader. Again, that intuitive message is going to be essential. Following the path that makes sense, not the path of least resistance. We know we need to release and shift. This is the path of light, stepping into our power and embracing who we are and that life that we signed up for. That's why the tower is hitting us and we need to release right now, so that we're not really following it very well. We may be close, but there's still some barriers that we need to overcome to make that alignment more meaningful for you. So taking that time and receiving those messages. And then we have ride the wave. Now, anytime you see water in tarot or oracle, you're looking at that intuitive, that connection to the higher vibrations, that creativity. Riding the wave talks about using this time to your advantage. This card talks about really getting on that wave, using that energy, this time to your advantage. We could resist this, and let's be honest, it's a lot harder to swim upstream than it is to catch the wave and hang 10. So using this time, accepting that we do need to do a shift, that we do need to release so that we're not stuck and we don't feel those really low vibrational energies. We tap into that creativity, to that inner fire and passion that's going to bring meaning and fulfillment into our lives. And then finally, stuck in the mud. I've kind of had that stuck feeling. It's probably not surprising to many of you that the tower is here. When we have that stuckness, sometimes we need that big jolt to get that mud off our feet and allow us to move forward. This transition and evolution that Mercury Retrograde is going to offer you is going to be fantastic for that further momentum, for gaining the knowledge and experience that you need to from this situation. We have to be careful that we're not going to add yet another sword to that already ample field of swords dug into us. Taking the knowledge rather than that emotion. The emotion is only going to add extra baggage. I want to thank you guys so much for spending some time with me today and watching this video. I hope that you found this video fun and insightful, and you were able to gain some direction and understanding to what Mercury Retrograde is going to offer you. If you found this video helpful and insightful, I can't say that you would enjoy this video too much given the content, but if you found it interesting and helpful, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for the latest content. There is so much more coming your way, my friends. the best way to stay connected so you don't miss out on any of this amazing insight and healing is to subscribe to my channel and hit that little red bell so you don't miss a video. Also, if you enjoyed this video and want to support me in making more videos, I have a Patreon page with many tiers and lots of perks. In some of the tiers, the perks are private readings and healings with myself. I provided a helpful link below, so why not go check it out? Until tomorrow, my rose quartz friends.